Chapter 12. Why are they so puzzling? 12. Why are they so puzzling? Breakups are almost invariably difficult, but there are different degrees of complexity at stake in different situations. Nor does this deny the existence of a cataclysmically painful but too little known type, whom we can call the hardest person in the world to break up with. A relationship with them begins like this. You're very drawn to them. Perhaps they very much attract you physically, and their personality is compelling as well. You admire them and, in areas, feel a lot of sympathy for them too. There's probably something in their past that really interests and touches you. You have no desire to break up, and in fact you'd love this to last till the end. For their part, they seem to be keen on you. That's what they've said a number of times. They show no interest in leaving you. They want this to be for the long term, perhaps forever. But there is a problem, one so grave and yet so hidden, so damaging and yet so hard to grasp, that you can only bear to face up to it slowly. You start to realize that the partner whom you love and who says they love you is having a grievously detrimental effect on your mental well-being. What wrong might the partner be perpetrating? It is a spectrum. At one end they might be hitting you. But the spectrum is long, and it contains all sorts of insidious ways in which, without ever raising a hand, let alone a finger, one human can badly damage another. They might be having affairs or spending too much money. They might be addicted to something, or, and this is hard to get a grip on, they may be constantly absent. They show no reliable warmth towards you, they never initiate any touch, they may never hug. They are present but not really there. Probably as soon as these problems first arose, you started to complain. But you did so softly, or sarcastically, or bitterly, not head-on. After all, you love them and you're a good boy or girl. It can take a long time, years or decades, before you are able to raise an adult objection. What happens when you at last ask these types to face up to the harm you feel they are doing to you? There are two main responses. Both are hard to master, but the second is the hardest. They confess it, fed up at last. You tell them that you've had enough of the violence, affairs, addiction, financial spend, distance, lack of intimacy, lack of sex. You raise an ultimatum. If they don't finally raise their game, you're going to leave, even though, of course, it's the last thing you want. You love them. You may be shaking and flushed after you have spoken. You feel you might be crazy. Surely it's crazy to threaten to leave someone you love and who says they love you. You'd expected all sorts of dark responses on their part, but something that is, on the surface, rather lovely now happens. They admit it, they confess, they say, "You're right, I hadn't fully realized until now, until you finally opened my eyes to how I've harmed you. Baby, I hear you, I'm so sorry." The person promises that they will change. They just need time. They just need your understanding. They suggest getting themselves a therapist once a month or so, and then they'll get on top of their issues. Their candor is moving and suggests they have a handle on their psyche. You are in any case desperate to believe them. They have a very receptive audience. The problem is that, despite their promises, the person doesn't change. They make a short-term adjustment enough to ensure you won't leave them on the timescale you were threatening, but not profound enough to correct the problem and allow you your freedom. And in the gap between their promise to change and your realization that they don't have the ability, or perhaps intention, to do so, children may have been born. They wanted kids to keep you around. You wanted them as a token of the happy future that was being promised. Commitments pile up and there are fewer options left in the world beyond. You might not be so young anymore. Roman 2. They deny it, however hideous all the above sounds. There is an even worse kind of relationship to leave than that. This is one with the same dynamics, but with one extra twist at the end. When you finally confront them with the problem, they don't confess, they deny it. They tell you you're dreaming, you're imagining it, that the problem lies with you. They become incensed and offended at the suggestion you're making. "You're so cynical about me, don't you trust me? How rude you are about me, why don't you have more faith in me and in us?" They push back. "You're just as neurotic as you say I am. The problem is with you and not me." This is minefield territory. Relationships and their interactions are generally not filmed, so it's hard for you to back up your claims or even to be sure of your verdicts when they are relentlessly challenged. Is the loved one spending too much money, or am I just nagging? Are they actually flirting, or am I just jealous? Are they failing to initiate sex, or am I just insecure? The partner whom you love and really don't want to leave, and who says they love you, adds to the difficulty by telling you, with authority, that you really are crazy, that you are seeing things, that you are too demanding, that there's something wrong with you. Probably you're an open-minded, nice, intelligent person, and open-minded, nice, intelligent people tend to give others the benefit of the doubt. After all, such types know they aren't perfect. They're aware of everything they get wrong. They don't feel they're brilliant in every way. Therefore, perhaps it's plausible that here, too, you may be seeing things that aren't there, so why insist, especially when you love your partner and want to be with them? Here is a nice person telling you that you are a bit mad and imagining things. It's a dispiriting message, but if disregarding your impulses and your emotional needs is the price you pay for keeping a relationship aloft, maybe it's worth thinking of yourself as a bit insane. At least you'll still have a partner, so more time passes and you stay put. In that time, probably there are more children, more entanglements, and less of life left for you to build on afterwards. There is also likely to be a destruction of your sense of reality. You will probably start to feel as mad as you're being subtly told you are. You might have a breakdown, which is not an ideal backdrop against which to leave anyone. All that said, in both of the above cases, you will probably have to leave eventually. Your long-term mental well-being may depend on it. But it is no picnic, having to leave someone you love, who says they love you, and who is either falsely promising to change or denying they need to change because you're the defective one. In order to leave, you will need to think, I am in love with someone who is damaged. They cannot realistically change and may even be using me as a reason not to change. Or they are in denial and are abusing my credulity and self-doubt in order not to look more honestly into themselves. You will have to think, there is probably something in my past, a history of putting up with intolerable situations, that makes me a long-term sucker for this sort of suffering. Mountain climbers know that certain peaks cannot be climbed alone. You need a climbing buddy. In this context, let's call them a psychotherapist or a very good friend. They can put in the time to reassure you of your sanity and be there for you when you feel as if you're making the worst choice in the world, even though, despite your self-hating feelings that you're intolerant and getting everything wrong, you are probably taking one of the more helpful decisions of your life. 1, 2, 3.